Hey there, everyone. It's triple witching day as we near the close of the second quarter. That means there could be a lot of volume today, maybe some volatility, but most definitely some repositioning as institutions are going to be looking to make some outperformance happening, if you will. So I think that this could be a wild time where we should look at the weekly charts because I have some for you that I find very interesting. As a matter of fact, I got for the NASDAQ 100, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, and then we also have to look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those 5 charts I think are incredibly insightful, and there's some things that we should be watching for, and I want to share them with you. I will also share them over at the Discord. The link is down in the description. Code word doctor gets you 50% off your first month. You can join the thousands of members who are already over there. I will tell you more about that later. In the meantime, jumping into the charts on this, the very first one, QQQ. Here we are. Take a look at where we're at. Now, mind you, this is a weekly chart. You can see with the ticker back here, and that 1W is 1 week. What we see is that over here, the previous 2 all-time highs with the selling pressure that followed each one of them. And so far, we have a high wick from last week, and this week, the close of this definitely matters. If we end up closing lower than where we're at right now, that could signal a further drop from where we're at. And so this weekly chart, I think, is very telling. Now, mind you, if we do pull back, there's something else that I find very, very interesting and exciting in the event that we actually do see some softening. And that would be the possibility, the potential that we end up having this left shoulder, this big old head right here, and then a right shoulder on that, because that could be an inverse head and shoulders with a neckline that happens to be right at about the all-time high. So right up about here, and well, we could also draw one right there. I like that both. So getting up above that would be incredible. So that inverse head and shoulders, what would be so exciting about that is that the head on this thing is absolutely massive, that we would end up having a price target that would just be incredibly higher than where we're at right now, which could set up for a next run. Now, mind you, there's a lot of complicating factors, and this is all just, hey, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. We don't even have evidence that there is a shoulder on this to make a head and shoulders pattern. But if we did, I've talked about similar things like this before. Just to set that up there, it almost goes off the chart. That top up there is around 675. So that would be a massive climb from where we're at right now, sitting at about 530 in the pre-market as I make this video. So that would be like another 25%. And this is a weekly chart, so that could take weeks in the making. It could take an entire year or 2 years, but still that 25%. If we were able to see something like that build up over the next several weeks, matter of fact, that would take us out to September, October for that shoulder to even form. If it even happens, like I said, I would find that incredibly heartening in order to see that formation pop up for us as the markets tend to go higher, especially after we have moments like this one, or that you can go back through and you can look for all those dips that we have where we end up just moving higher over time. So as QQQ, absolutely one of the weekly charts that I'm watching. Now, just to go drop down to the daily chart and talk about some upside from here. If the 13 holds and we end up not having those 2 high wick candles on the weekly chart, this 5 could cross down below the 13. That could say near term, we're heading back down a little bit. We'll see where we land. And there are a lot of stops along the way, and it definitely depends on where we go from there. Now, mind you, we have geopolitical risks, geopolitical tensions with Iran and Israel. And if the U.S. decides to really become a part of that and bomb them, that could happen as soon as this weekend. It could happen as soon as today. It could happen anytime. If it's going to happen, that initial U.S. involvement could negatively affect the markets. But like we saw with Israel and Iran hopping in, we saw a quick pull down and then a nice little bounce right back up. And so we might see a slightly deeper pull down because they're U.S. markets, and the U.S. joining would be an escalation in that conflict, or rather a significant one, especially if we would see more people taking sides, that we'd have evidence of further escalation. As soon as the worst of it is known, that's usually where you start turning around for those markets. So we could climb higher from where we're at right now. Watch for that 13 EMA, the 13-day exponential moving average. That, I think, is the initial telltale sign. If we hold it as support, we could potentially go higher. And then we see those all-time highs, and that could happen potentially as we near the end of this Q2 date, maybe into early Q3. And then I think that there could be some time soon after that where we would have that turnaround. If we head up first, then I think the next direction after that, and it might sound a little bit trite at this point in time, next direction after that would be down. But what I mean is that we would have very near term up followed by maybe a little bit more significant downward. And we're going to have to watch and see what we get. I'll keep on coming out to YouTube. You keep on coming back. Make sure you subscribe to see more of my videos as they come out. But do watch that 13-day EMA. We break down below that, we're probably going to sell a little bit further. If we hold on to it as support, we're probably going to go a little bit higher. That's the near-term information that I want you to know. And I do think that new all-time highs are on the horizon, whether we head straight there or we pull back first, and then we have to watch and see where the bottom is, and then the next rally after that could be absolutely incredible and push us to those new all-time highs. I still think the new all-time highs exist within 2025, even if they don't exist within June or July. So let's hop back over to the charts on this. Going over to SPY weekly chart, I'm going to spend a little bit of time with this because there's that left shoulder. Maybe there's the big head on this, and maybe we get a right shoulder. If these two candles are similar looking as of today's close, we're going to have to watch and see. If it pushes up instead, then we have to watch for resistance. But much like I said, for the NASDAQ 100 ETF QQQ, SPY on the weekly chart, as we look at it, here's the two lines that we absolutely need to sit on top of to go higher from there. About 603.42 and 609.59. If we can sit on top of those, we have further upside. If instead we get rejected further from those, or if we lose the 13-day, which is this yellow line coming across your screen, that could potentially signal that we're going to sell down for a little bit. And like I said, then we'd have to look for support. IWM, the weekly chart on this one. Now, mind you, if the institutions are looking for outperformance, this could be one of those places. On the weekly chart, the last 2 weeks after going back to early June when we broke up above the 50 EMA on this, and like I said, this is IWM and this is the weekly chart. As we broke up over that 50 EMA, we got two candles supported on it so far, with the 5-week coming up as well. And if I grab my little tape measure here and click back, the 5th candle is this one right here. And so when that one falls off, then if we're up here, that's going to push the 5 up potentially more. It's going to stay a little bit sideways. As that next week happens to fall off and we move over to this candle, the bottom starts to come up significantly. And then the week after that, we really get a push from this green candle, especially if the price action is north of where it's at right now. Causes the 5 to cross the 50. That's a bullish sign. And then where does the 13 put us? Because the 13 crossing the 50 week is an absolutely enormous bullish sign. And that was one of the things that makes me so excited about IWM. So we actually have this candle over here, 1-2 weeks. And then when we get to the third one out here, hopefully we're trading higher than these candles, because that's going to push the 13 up even more, even as we lose those prices. And as these low ones start to peel off, as these start to fall off, if our price action is still up above those, that could raise it even more, get the 13 to cross the 50, and game on, my friends. I will show you for IWM that this one doesn't have a pretend head and shoulders. This one had an inverse head and shoulders. This one has an actual inverse head and shoulders. And right now the neckline support is holding. So this is still alive. This is active. And the price target on this, if indeed it hits, is 248.08. And so we'll see if we get that climb. This is one of those places where I feel like we've had some underperformance, and we have a lot of reasons for underperformance with the tariffs that we have, with the geopolitical risk, the small caps not being as isolated against economic downturn or economic distress. They usually do suffer. But if the biggest case that's happening right now is that everybody believes that they're going to drop, that's usually the time that you go contrarian, and that's where you have that pop to the upside. We do have to get back up over 213, and I have some resistances drawn along the way for you. And if I go out to the monthly chart on this one, you can see the green, white, yellow, and red for this bull channel that we're in. And remember that we usually, I'll take these down for a moment, when we start to get up here like these peaks, that's usually where we pull back from where we're at. So we could get that pop. It could be happening. We're up above the 50 EMA, where as a matter of fact, we're getting up above the 13 and the 5 EMAs as well. That's a bullish setup for us. And we take down those on the monthly chart and put up the SMAs. We're also above the 20-week, the 20-month, 50-month, and the 200-month on that. And when we go to the daily chart and look at the simple moving averages, we actually have that 20-period SMA support for the 20-day. We got rejected at the 200. We retested the 20. The 50 is starting to curl up. That golden cross moment could be coming for the small caps, for the Russell 2000 stocks tracked here by IWM. You can also check out VTWO if you're looking for smaller prices. So the Vanguard Russell 2000 ETF for this one as well. Instead of paying $200 a piece, you pay 80 some a piece, and the costs are quite low for it as well. The fees that you would pay to use the ETF as a financial instrument. So guys, I'm about to get into the last two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and man, those are highly interesting charts that we're going to look at for the week. And there's going to be big decisions made as soon as the break happens, and that break can happen as soon as this weekend. Crypto usually likes to make its move and set things up while the rest of the markets are sleeping, especially the US markets taking a break over the weekend. Crypto decides to make some moves, and then we have a new game starting on Monday as the US stock market is back and open, and we have more access to those ETFs. So I'm going to show you Bitcoin, I'm going to show you Ethereum, and guys, down in the description, that link for the Discord, 50% off your earners tier. Sign up for that first month. You guys can check it out for less than $1 a day. You have expert panelists over there, so a whole team of people there to support you in your journey towards financial freedom. Also in supporting you in building alpha in your portfolio, sharing news and opportunities with you, conversing with you. The community, thousands of members deep already, absolutely loving everything that's over there and offered to them, and you guys have access to it too. I think you're going to love what you find over there, including the products and services like the bread bot that's over there, the AI tools, the advanced charting tools. It's an absolute ecosystem, and it can just pay back in dividends with what you put into it through the opportunities that are present there. Same thing for the coursework through Stockmo Academy. He was kind enough to share out a link with me. Guy has been a personal friend of mine for the past 17 years. Huge and amazing financial skills that he has, and also education skills. He and Mrs. Mo have put together some solid courses that you should absolutely check out. You can do so through my link down in the description. Code word DOCTOR, DOCTOR, is also going to work to give you a discount on those courses. And if you bundle those together, it is a match made in heaven, because not only do you get incredible information on options, technical analysis, and technical trading using the bread recipe, but you also get a discount for the bundle and a further discount when you use code word DOCTOR. Guys, let's get into those Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. So putting this up here for you, Bitcoin, looking at the weekly chart, what we see on this is indecision in a bullish area. We're up above the 5, the 13, the 50, the 200 month is way down there at about 55,000. And you have two majorly indecisive weeks. This bottom wick that we have down here showing that buying pressure. The bears and the bulls are battling over this, which means that there's a whole lot of pressure squeezing together at a central place. And as that pressure comes off, as they slip apart, it's going to make a violent move up or down from where it's at right now. And there is a slightly bullish bias to it. The daily RSI is absolutely incredible. This is the daily chart now for Bitcoin. And what you can see is the bottom's coming up on this, the top's coming down, showing further evidence of that consolidation. We're up above the 50 on this for the EMAs. We're also up above the 13. The 5 might even cross the 13, which would be another bullish sign to get the faster moving averages crossing over the slower moving averages. Those are called bullish crossovers. So there's a lot of reasons to watch Bitcoin right now and to believe that it could make that break higher from where it's at. And if it does break down instead, then instead of celebrating now, that's for me anyway, it's taking the celebration for those lower prices, those lower entries, as I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin. And I think that we could see this thing pop out to about 138,000 by the end of 2025. So Ethereum, in its weekly chart, it is getting squeezed between the 50 EMA and then this 5 EMA. And if we actually take down the exponential moving averages and put up the simple ones, you can see the 50 simple moving average and the 200 that it's getting squeezed between on this weekly chart as well. Lots of indecision. We have the bulls trying to push that line, but the bears squishing them back down. The bears trying to squish this down, but the bulls putting up a good fight. And what you see is that battle-tested line. There's the war front in between for Ethereum, going from about 2,500 up to about, it looks like about 2,556. So like a $60 range where this thing is really being contested and where it keeps on holding steady for that price. This is going to move massively when it does. And just like with Bitcoin, if the bears win out on this, and right now I don't believe that they do, but if the bears do win out on this, then we set up for that next opportunity, because most likely over time it's going to go higher, and that's also most likely within 2025. If we break from here, we're going to hit at least 3,300, especially with all this battle testing that we have, this bull flag looking graph or chart that we have here in front of you. This, I think, could absolutely push higher on us if we make that decision. If we drop down to the daily chart for a moment, there's the 50 squeezing up on the 200 and the 20. We are currently trading down below the 20. We got rejected off it a couple times. If we can retake the 20, we're probably going to retake the 200. We're probably going to get the 50 pushing up. The RSI is absolutely perfect as we went from overbought all the way back down to 50. And now we could be getting that squeeze that really starts to push us a lot higher on Ethereum. So guys, down in the description, whether you sign up for the Discord with the earner tier and take that discount using code word doctor, or it's the coursework that you go with code word doctor, or both, I think you're going to find incredible value and opportunity, including the community that surrounds you, including the expert panelists that are over there sharing the news and opportunities. People like me, we have people who cover crypto exclusively, the bond market, stock market. I cover a little bit of everything personally. There's also live trading with 0 DTEs. If you're interested in that, you can go over and watch that happening right in front of you, seeing how to take the bread recipe and really turn it into a winning strategy on the riskiest of plays, but also when I talk about 0 DTEs being the riskiest of plays, but also it works on the longer term plays. Any period chart that you're looking at, you can apply that bread recipe and you can really use it in powerful ways to build that alpha in your portfolio, use that alpha towards your long-term investments, and really strive towards financial freedom. And that can all be unlocked for you through those links down in the description. Let me know what you think of Bitcoin, Ethereum. What about the stock market itself? Do you think the NASDAQ 100 is going to push higher from here? Or are we going to settle a little bit first? Are we going to see a further escalation of those conflicts, which is going to rattle the markets and set up the next opportunity? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments. And I'd also love to see you over at the Discord and learning from those courses. Guys, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.